Uh, the armed forces is winding up, but there are still the holdouts and the hostages. What delayed us before is still the same. As much as possible, we do not want anybody taken hostage by the terrorists harmed or killed. So, gapangan ito and slowly, parang special operations na lang lahat na nung nagawa kay sa pare. It was not a stroke of fate that he was able to, yeah, in the sense that he was lucky that there are some military who are really marunong gumapang yung mga rangers natin, special po. Practically lahat. Yung sa mga front lines yon. And they planned the scenario which successfully led to the rescue of the priest. Yun ang mag-wind up na ito. And sabi ko nga sa mga sundalo, we will not have any celebration. After all has been said and done, we will just go out quietly, pack the things and go home. But I will insist on a Thanksgiving Mass. Not only for those living, but especially for those brother soldiers who died along the way. It is a very sad incident in the life of a soldier, but I would insist that we should also have not really a celebration because walang nanalo dito. Actually, kayong mga maote dyan, pati mga remaining terrorista, we do not claim any victory over you kung napatay ka o napahirapan ka because we did not start this ruckus. The government just reacted. But we don't need any trouble now. Ayaw namin. Ayaw ko kasi si Matapak sinabi ko, yung lola ko taga rito. Dito talaga sa Lanao del Sur. So I'd be the last person to pick to fight. But when they invaded, the terrorists invaded ISIS and the rest of the Al-Qaeda groups in the area of the Zamboanga Peninsula, and I had to declare martial law. It will be lifted anytime after things are already, there's a clean up, and we can make sure that it does not end in the physical fighting. There's much to be done. Pero kung that's rebuilding Makati, and of course getting rid of the remaining explosives which are hidden or planted along the way, it's not really for us but for the people of Marawi to give them protection. Kaya nga lilinisin nga because pati yung mga returning civilians are put in jeopardy of being a victim of an explosive IED planted by the terrorists in many parts of the city. We need to clean up, and it can only be done by the military. But after I said our task here, the military's task, we shall go home quietly. They will pack their bags and maybe say goodbye to the people of Marawi. Ako naman sabi ko, walang nanalo dito. We're all losers actually. We have soldiers, maraming nawala, pati maraming sugatan. That is my second worry. I have to make an assessment, an evaluation of each and every lawyer kung whether he can still fight, and for those really seriously wounded, I have to make a visit somehow. Maybe when my calendar is freed of the uh, physical, you have to have physical endurance. My day starts, I said, after lunch. Then 1 or 2, I already start until midnight. We had the LEDAC, and I was with General Lorenzana and si Ed kagabi. Hindi ko alam nandoon sila.
Yes, sir.
But we had a talk with the senators and the congressmen. And they have filed, or we would be filing the BBL transition documents, and the senators have agreed that there will be a postponement to the election. The only thing missing actually in that law is that, sabi ko, because there were so many complaints that they would give additional powers of appointment to. I said, I am not in politics now. Wala na ako hanggang the remaining years is about 5 years or something. I do not need any added political whatever, be it voters or lieutenants. I am through. I cannot run again. And that's why I said, I'm not interested in appointing the public officials, itong mga kagawad pati barangay captains. Kasi magkagulo lang. Baka yung isa doon magalit sa akin. So, why would I? Sabi ko, place there a mechanism that I do not have anything to do with it, but approve it as a law. Do not give me powers or concessions which I do not need anymore. Wala na akong all I see that I see the future as me working very hard with the soldiers, with the police, and with the public to make it a safe place for the nation. But the war on drugs will continue. There will be no let up. We will have shortly a secretary of DILG. It's vacant. I do not have the permission to say his name in public. But it will continue. Just because there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or a dozen unnecessary deaths. And I agree that it was not those incidents, especially those covered by CCTVs, they have to face the punishment. They have to be prosecuted. Lalo ng mga police, karahang police, and they went to a killing spree without following the law. Ulitin ko, when this is the policeman or a soldier, and here is an enemy now or a criminal, the duty of the police is to announce his authority that he is the police officer and he is arresting. It's worth repeating kasi hindi narinig ng lahat, pati mga civilian. Pag hinuli kayo ng police at sabihin niya arestado ka, you are arrested, you are under arrest because of a crime you violated. The police must place the guy under the authority of the government. Anywhere in the world, be it British, American, when the police says you are under arrest but you committed a crime, the duty of the criminal is to surrender. Because if not, the next law that mandates to the soldier or to the police is really to force you to surrender. And you should, the first duty of a civilian in this country, and any country for that matter, your obligation is to surrender so that the police can place you under the custody of the law. Physical, arestado ka na, then you are brought to the court issuing the warrant, or your case was warrants without arrest. Committing a crime in the presence of a police officer, about to commit a crime, or had in fact committed a crime, those are instances which do not need a warrant. There is no time anymore if he's about to commit a crime and go to court to secure a warrant over it. He would not have the time. About to commit robbery, murder, or entry into a house, then you surrender. The second is he already committed. There is a shooting incident inside the room, or there's a stabbing or a quarrel that would result in deaths and physical injuries. The police can enter the house, find out if there is a crime committed by the shouts, or the neighbors would say that there's something serious is going on. He does not need a warrant, although he is exempted from the crime called trespass to dwelling. That will not apply if the police would enter the house under the authority of the law para mahuli niya. Then again, the duty of this criminal or person arrested, whether or not you really committed or not, is you to explain before the police. But allow him to, because the law says if you refuse to surrender, the police must go to you and physically drag you. Because the law says you must overcome. Kailangan makuha mo talaga yung tao. That's why it ends sometimes in a quarrel rocos, because especially drunks, and especially those walang kasalanan, they would fight with the police. Sometimes they are really, the police is trained for a martial arts, or maybe two or three would arrest you physically and restrain you. Kaya nagkakabukol-bukol minsan yan. Kaya human rights, I'm telling you, not all physical injuries that you see on a person was really would have been a crime for you. Because in fighting the police, you might be, use a fist. Because the law says you must overcome the resistance, so you have to go physical. And if that does not arrest by order, you can drag him. And that process alone would mean that there would be some injuries. And if he goes to the physician and have him have a medical certificate to go, the vow now, the fad, or the style prevailing, they would also file a case against the police. And if the police is suspended pending the charges na he violated the rights by going physical, in the first place, he should have surrendered. We could have avoided injuries. But that is the law. They file a case against the peace officer to gain a leverage. And a police officer, before my time, was that they are really hesitant. And that is why no arrest on drugs on a large dimension has had happened, because I think we would always file a case. And the police are afraid of cases. You, an ordinary police, with a salary of 14,000, the entry pay. And if he is suspended that day, he can no longer bring rice, food to the family table. And with the meager, he could not have, would have the resources for the continued education of them. Kawawa, i-demanda mo, because when the file is against the police, and the police submit to him, there is about 2 or 3 which is that he was drugged because, so that's part of the arrest. And that is what makes the human rights and some bleeding hearts ignorant. You should talk to a lawyer before you make the conclusion. Just because you saw him blooded, for all you know, he resisted all the way. And the police cannot stop there at that point when there is already physical violence. Because the law says you must overcome the resistance. You have to overcome. Means to say, you can use force. Oh, if he puts up a good fight, suntok ka na lang, fist fight. The police cannot turn his back and say, I do not want a case filed against me. So that is why some of them are really liable, not guilty, for a prosecution. But they make all the things even. So walang police noon na matapang. When my time came, I said, go out of your sanctuaries, wherever you are, sa presinto, or if you are told to patrol the streets, catch this peddler, then that is the duty of the police. He does not follow that order of the president and the mayor. Neglect of duty or disobedience to the public authority. Aside from the fact that he might be facing charges that the injured criminal would suffer, he loses his job. And that is why I said, some media people and the EU and they would say, Duterte has a very, find me a reason, a good one. Cite to me a provision in any of the criminal statutes of the world which says that it is wrong for the president to say, do not destroy my country because I will kill you. Do not destroy the young of the youth because that is our only asset. We are not a rich race. We depend on a meager pension that is only good. It's only, mine is good for about 3 years. An ordinary soldier or policeman, their pension would, and when they get old, when they retire, they would, ailments come and go through his body. Diabetes, hypertension, glaucoma because of, and they have to buy these medicines. So it would be the last thing that they would want to happen in their lives. That's why they were hesitant to go out. And that is why they make comparison. Why in the previous times, I would not want to specify any precedent here, nothing of that scale happened. Well, because the police officers are hesitant. But I would admit, as I have said, that there were killings unnecessary. And we are finding out by filing murder charges against them, like the Kian. Were caught on camera. I never said kill them unnecessarily. Go out, arrest all criminals, but if they offer a resistance that places your life in jeopardy. Look at the police, you have the internet now. Look at the place where the policeman, after the Kian incident, because there are really plenty of drugs in Caloocan, the police conducted another raid. My policeman was shot in the head. I did not even notice a coverage of that. Nothing. Well, once in a while, you see the drug addict. I've been telling you, they are a violent human being, especially if the brain is destroyed. There are no more connective nerves working inside the gray matter between his ears. So, a policeman 2 days after was killed. Now, of recent memory, the other night, you saw a guy who was drunk. You saw him going around with a knife. It was really comeuppance for him because the camera, the CCTVs there saw the actual. Had it not been otherwise, the word was, the police shot them. Look at the way, I admire that police, so I want to see him and congratulate him. When the attacker, who was deranged with drugs, began to attack him, he just parried the several blows with his hands. Hinawakan pa niya, got hold of the knife and killed him and stabbing. He was parrying. It was not only after he fell down, tapos pumatong itong, the criminal was above him, about to finish him off, and he fired. That is the police that I wanted, but do not expose your life. If you sense that you will die, why would you allow a criminal win by killing you and going scot-free? If there's nobody, had it not been for the camera. That's why I said there are a lot of guys who are crazy going around. Here, I've been telling you that there is a flood of drugs in it. Marawi is one here. Because every known, I cannot show it to you. But everyone here was producing shabu. So when we were trying to find out where did this money come from to finance terrorism, we asked the international investigators to give us a copy of the transmission of money. And there was only one outstanding operator, aside from two civilians, but one was a police officer, and she goes by the name of Nobleza, a lady peace officer, I think it was a major. It was assigned before in Davao of Forensics. She's quite a built lady. So we saw the number of the transactions she had with the foreign terrorists. That is why her presence there was required to save the Inbohol. Siya yun. But otherwise, we are looking for the real money unless there was really dollar stuck somewhere. Oh, how come that Marawi until now is still fighting? Let me ask you a question. We're in the third month. How come the Maote brothers and the terrorists were able to stockpile so much ordnance and bullets and ammunition and IED? Saan nila kinuha eh? And 3 months I said we're still fighting. I don't have this fighting going on. But that is one. And we were looking for the source of the money. And I will just point out to you, as Mindanao is a rotten. We had now a good picture of what happened in Marawi about the drug. This is the matrix. Do not, you are not allowed to, because I do not want to compromise our agents or the deep penetration agents. It's really, but you would notice, utang ina niya. They get close. To, pula. That is part of the discovery of the military. Para hinog. The mayor who was killed by the police during a raid. So, he died, and they want to exhume the body. Maybe they have already done that. For what? For what? Filing a case against the police? That's my order. I was the one who gave it. So why don't you file a case against me? Everything that happened here in Marawi, I was the one who declared martial law, and I will answer for it. The responsibility is mine and mine alone, not the police and the service. Akin yun. Kung baka sa hantak yan, aking antog yun. Alam mo yung antog? You have this stone there. Kung ano naman yung coin mo, tapos yung antog, aking antog, ito dito. At saka marami pang putang inang mga mayor kayo, litsege. Kaya sabi nila, bastos rabong nga ako. Totoo. Talagang bastos talaga ako. Gawain mo sa bayan ko yan. Putang ina mo, talagang bastos ako. Galit ako. Sabi ko, ilan naman ang sweldo na itong mga pulis, mga... Pagtanda nito nila, saan sila magkuha ng oxygen? Saan sila magkuha ng medisina? Antibiotics? You think that that pension will only be spent for their physical needs? Hanggang dyan lang ang pension nila. They could not even enjoy it because it's quite small. So, they would need the children to feed them. They would need their children to buy the oxygen. They would need their children to buy the antibiotics if there is a contamination going on inside the body. Mabuti yung magprangkahan tayo. Filipino nation, find me a law which says that I cannot say, if you destroy my country, I will kill you. Find me a law which says that I'm liable for anything when I say, do not destroy our children. Because they are the only assets that we have. And then when we grow old, they take care of us as they took care of us also, their children when we were young. That is the sad story. And those OFW suffering abuse, rape, doon sa countries they are deployed, and they cannot even get justice because instead of them going to jail, the criminals are women are in prison. That's the problem. And they go there because they want to look for money so that their children can go to school. Look, if this is the family, if one child gets hooked into drugs, this family becomes dysfunctional. If the father goes out somewhere in the Middle East and the mother follows suit, and the children are left with the grandparents or aunts and uncles, especially the young. They're so fragile in the company with other guys, even with relatives. So how many times did you read that he was raped by the cousin of his father? Because they're vulnerable. Why? Because the family is already dysfunctional. Nobody would call him to go in for the night and retire. Nobody would keep track where they would go. And these are the guys identified by the peddlers because they know that they have this money. Small, but you can get a share of the blood money that the father and mother And to think that the mother would suffer humiliation, indignity, day in, day out. Because there are countries, I cannot name ni now, but I will someday, that I was once upon a time a congressman. I went to the Middle East to beg for mercy. And we were all, at least me, I am half, but in the company of the Langgaling, the congressman from here. Salupudin used to be a rebel. And we all went then, I said, it was Villar's idea, you go where, you Muslim. You, to referring to me, you are the Muslim blood, knows that my mother came from him. Eons ago, many years ago. So we begged there for the life of him. And he granted it. So we brought the 2 or 3 girls back home. But the minister there, sort of an state minister or foreign affairs, who accompanied us, said, why don't you talk to the police? I will not name the country. Why don't you talk to your counterpart, the legislator, because I was a member of the Law and Order Committee. And I said, you should tell your countrymen that they should not be wailing and whining because they are here. The practice among the race here is, if you are a slave or paid to work on that house, physical abuse is part of it. So here goes the employer, the sons are already of age, and the cousin of the father or mother visits there. And they make use of the women. That is how painful to me. And that is why I am angry. Because back home, the money that they send, not all, there would always be an exception. But most of them, because the ready money, small but also small as well, they are the first victims. No father to worry for him, no mother except the cell phone, and every time she makes a call, she will just be assured that, oh, we're alive, we're safe. That to me is the painful thing. Nasasaktan ako dyan. Alam mo bakit nagpapahindot ang babae doon sa Pilipinas? Para lang makapagkita ng pera. Dapat malaman ng Pilipino. Kaya ako masakit sa akin. Even if I'm just a nobody in the Philippines. I come from Davao City. I grew up. I have a Chinese grandfather, a Maranao grandmother. My father is Cebuano. But don't ever say that I do not love my country and my family. That is why you guys, you make money, then you fuck with our children. Who do you think you are? But what right do you have in this universal thing that you are allowed to cook shabu, make our sons and daughters a slave to a chemical, and they will crave for that every day at the expense of the money, of the hard-earned money, and the loss of their dignity included, just to bring money to the children. Pero never mind about those OFW. Maybe you can count just a number about dependents and all of them, but about 3 million, including the children and the family that they leave behind when they go abroad. Now I've told you, do not, I said, fuck with our children, because they are important to us. They are our insurance. Unlike the West, dito sila, they have a rich economy. And also they have the insurance that when they die, at least they can, their children can afford to pay the home for the elderly or aged, and even for the Filipino. Do we have that? Do we have that home for the aged to take back? We have in Davao. And I have in Davao a beautiful building costing 22 million, where I placed victims of incest. Those who get pregnant because of the father, only those incest, brother, uncle. So I house them in one house because they have to give birth. Then I provide, the government provides education. We do have the rehab. That rehab was constructed about 17 years ago. I still remember. You know what? The slide, the rate of going back to, it's about 90%. Most of the time they go out, then they get into the habit again. The failure of drug rehabilitation is almost 90. I know that. And you have been to Davao. You should see I have a rehab for the drug addict. So don't tell me that you do not have to kill. I never ordered anybody. And you can ask any policeman and soldier if there was such a thing. There are so plenty, I cannot convince them all to tell the truth. That is the truth. If you can find about 5, those are really neutral and not my political enemies as they would want to, I'll step down as president. Only when their lives are in danger can a police officer or the military, just like now, there's martial law in Mindanao. If the military says stop it, do not do it. Stop it and do not do it. And if you are killed, don't blame the military or the police. Because I will protect them, I said, for those who committed wrongdoings, or maybe something that is not in accordance with the normal incident of a human being, a Filipino. Then and only then but I will protect them. Because I have to do my duty, and I have only the police and the military to enforce it. So I allowed them to search every house in the city. So I never thought that they would really be able to amass such a large quantity of guns, explosives, ordnance, whatever. Name it, and they had it. They had the drones. They have the barret that can put you in the arrows, the site, 1 kilometer away. That's where my soldiers got killed. May preposition na sila. It's a new fighting, just like in Libya, Iraq, and Syria. It takes them about 6 years to recover a certain territory. Why? Because they are covered by not natural, artificial houses, but made of concrete. So we do not, for the mosque, I told them, do not destroy the mosque. It is a holy place for the mosque. Until now, that is, they are there, some. And that is why I said, we do not destroy holy places. Because, look, you are in a hurry with me, and you want me to attack. I can do it. I can reduce the mosque into rubble, thereby killing all the people inside. You want me to do that? I have ordered the military and the police not to do it. Why? Because there are 2 million plus Filipinos deployed abroad working in Muslim countries. You must be an idiot or immoron like the one who said that I am immoron because I surrendered to the Marcoses. The Marcoses never supported me for the last 40 years that I have been a public official. And I have never lost an election. And I never asked anybody. I was just relying on the name of my father, who was governor of our place many, many years ago. And it was an honest life for him. And that is what I want for the country. Honesty. That's why I hate corruption. There's only one, no second, no pardon, no nothing. You steal from government, 500 pesos, 1,000, still the same. And because I do not want to humiliate people, some of them are already in the age of retiring to 3 years from now. So, I reckon that by this time, 65, most of the children have already finished school. Some are doctors, lawyers, and even police. So I would not want to put them to shame. And I would just say, go out silently into the night. And I don't want you. But, people are asking if I'm one of those responsible for the charges brought to the ombudsman. I've told you I am not into the habit of prosecuting people during my time. Never talked to you about prosecuting Aquino or the Mama Sapano or Gloria Arroyo for corruption. I said I will just work as president as simply as it could be. And I even ordered the removal of my picture in all government and school. My face, I have yet to prove that I am a hero. To enjoy the privilege of my picture being placed there in schooling. I said, go for our national hero. There are plenty of them. The newest one is Lapu-Lapu. He was the guy who killed Magellan, who was the first imperialist to set foot in this country, in the Battle of Mactan. Pinatanggal ko, I had my pictures removed entirely. I do not want to sit in the offices of my cabinet members because I know that power is fleeting. I know that because I am a son of a politician. When my father died, suddenly we found that we are alone. Now that I'm president, I know that you would know how to cajole, how to condescending attitude in front of you. You do not, you work, it's like here. It's on the merit. Board of Generals will decide where you go. I haven't talked to General Anyo or to General Lorenzana about appointments in the government. I do not even control their recommendees, whether they are pro-Duterte or no. No, you can ask anybody. The directors. What I said to my government, we have only one, the department, the incoming housing top poncho is General De Rosario. And General Anyo would be in his retirement come October. Inshallah. He will be the DILG. Oh, it's a training. We're gonna go out. We spend until 5 o'clock in the morning answering questions. Bakit kayo umabot dito? Yes, sir.
the angle of drug lords that you had previously identified funding the Marawi crisis, sir? The Marawi
Yes,
drug
the terrorists are funding them, including the politicians.
politicians
Politicians here in Central Mindanao.
na walang kinalaman sa droga.
No, might be some of them, but they are protecting. I was not saying that Mayor Mabilog was making shabu. I said he was a protector, number one. Remember my statement, the very, very first early days, when I was president. I called the attention of the Iloilo people. Your city or your province is the most shabulized, if there is such a word. The most shabulized. Now, you want me to name him again? It's my Mayor Mabilog. And he is out of the country because he is afraid to suffer the same fate with Parahinog. But Parahinog, different. At least there is a semblance of an authority. He said he was a protector, but maybe also part of the gamblings and I am not sure on that score. But I'm sure whenever he was talking to I was listening to him. Don't ask me how what kind of listening device. It was a whisper from God, and I was listening to him. So they were all top. And I said, I was the one who ordered it. And I cannot name the people there. Say they're a police or...
So do you have ballpark figure kung gaano kalaking drug money yung pinorder para sa siege na ito?
I cannot make this. Maybe when we were talking of damage,
No, sir. Drug money that was poured.
I said we will know after we would have cleaned up the place. The military is under orders to clean the place also. Before we leave, we have to make sure. Every gun, every shabu inside a house will be taken out and the owner is prosecuted. Explain to me why you have so many guns and explain to me why there are shabu or you have a lot of money. Almost millions recovered in the early days of the drug war.
Did I hear you almost billion?
Almost.
Billion? Na nakuha sa mga ganito?
Oo. Hindi lahat pera ha. Shabu.
Shabu and
Money, di ba? About 50 million plus. And another several. But it is duly accounted for.
sir,
Yes.
Friends TV.
Friends TV. Oh.
So it's been like the longest, the dayless strikes. How responsible do you feel about all the destruction in Marawi?
Well, I'm sad that we are fighting and killing Filipinos. On our side also, I've lost so many soldiers. It is not a victory for anyone. I even said that we do not celebrate that victory. When the time comes, when our task is done, we will pack our things and go home silently. I do not want any celebration. I said, it's not a victory for the Philippines. We all lost in this war. You will remember most of them, or all of them, but there are Caucasians who are part of the extremist group. There were plenty of Arabs who came here via their religion or, just like in other places. There are bishops and there are those missionaries who come here, Americans, and we respect them so that we allow them under the provisions of freedom of education. But we never realized that those who pretended to be imams, or maybe imams, and they were Arabs, and they joined the fray. I have that brief. Maybe the military. I am not in a position to force them. But maybe someday they would show all, because footages was also taken while they were fighting. But as to the decision of whether it's good or not, I leave it to the military. For after all, they will be the first victim if anything goes wrong.
And what is your main fear once the battle of Marawi will be over?
We will need a lot of money to rebuild Marawi. I have promised that to the people of Marawi. And I will comply and abide by my promise. And that is why I'm leaving some of the military guys and even the construction company of the military. I do not know how they determine it, but they're the ones who... Anong pangalan yan?
Engineering brigade.
Yeah, engineering brigade. There would be a lot of things to do here.
Mr. President, what are your main conclusions and main decisions in order to prevent that something similar, like in Marawi, happens again during your presidency?
It will happen again and again and again. I've warned them before that if they lose the land mass, I've warned the military and many the first, I think it was the first command conference to be when I was president. And I said, this thing will be fought for generations to come. And maybe your sons and daughters will do it well. Because the ISIS has contaminated so many people pretending to invoke the name of Islam. It is not Islam. I know because I said, when I was young, I used to visit it. I was even mascoted when I said a fifth time. I just keep quiet. That is of recent memory when I was president. When I was a small boy, I used to come to my grandmother. She died already many years ago. But I used to visit it with my cousins. Marawi. So, the hotbeds of those who are willing to embrace an ideology of destruction and killing, it is not Islam. It is you can never find any a good Muslim and they would say that it is this Islamic practice of killing all infidels, referring those who are non-Muslims. It's a violation of God's directive. And that's they're enough, like the mayor, congressman here.
Sir, good evening.
Maya na yan kay sila na naman, sige kayo dyan.
Sir, ang ASEAN will be in November.
Yes.
Now, ang preparations, today is September, so yung October, palagay ninyo matatapos na
It's
lahat.
just around the corner.
Opo,
Okay.
it's just around the corner.
On the wings. Wait.
Mhm. Sir, any reaction coming from other leaders of iba-ibang bansa na dito sa nangyayari sa Marawi? Meron po ba silang have you talked with them
Excuse me.
aside from the support that they are giving?
Everybody knows that. America is one who help us. But we also have to thank China for providing for the shortfall of the arms that we were not getting from America. Because of the human rights allegations, they suspended the sale of M16 rifles made by 6 hours. And the 23,000 that I needed was not there. I had to go to China. It was really because of the Americans. Because I found China to also be a very sympathetic race, and it's a patient generation holding power now, and they understood the problem. And they're giving us more arms come September, I don't know. The military would not tell me, so I would not know how to respond to it. When will it be given? But we have cargo planes with M16 and the sniper rifles. And I would like to say that you guys from China, you make good guns now. Your sniper accounted for also the side losing so much. It's accurate, it's good, and I even have one myself.
Mayor, another one. Can you update us also on the spillover ng gulo po dito sa Marawi dahil once na-interview namin kayo sa Malacanang before, sinabi niyo po na mag-spillover. Can you update us?
Yes, it's now spilling over. Did you bother to find out what's happening in Cotabato? There's fighting there. MI and Philippine troops on one side. BIFF and there's another one. And some raw members of some MI. There's fighting now going on.
Yes, sir. But aside from that, any threat coming from this group or any other group na manggugulo pa rin po?
We are anticipating always. We do not rest when the fighting is over here. We will hit hard against on the extremists who kill for nothing. That's the Mexican way of saying, well, we are good to you, but we will not tell you the truth. And as I said, other killer would say, I kill people for nothing. But since you are my friend, I'll kill you for nothing. We really do not know how it brought about that. Suddenly, government was went into a place there, the house, to implement a warrant over it. And that was drug. The flashpoint started with the drug raid.
Last on my part, yung pong sinasabi ninyo ng mga politiko, are they still here in Marawi supporting the troops?
Yes,
Ito po
the implementor
yeah.
of the General Insana, he said to me when I entered this room that they want all mayors tainted with corruption and drugs be placed out of power. Maybe I'll suspend them after investigation, or I will censure them, or I may dismiss them entirely from government. Most likely, if it's really positive, I will meet the worst punishment.
Last but not least, sir, pag-upo ba ni General Anyo as DILG Secretary, ito na po ang tatrabaho niya, yung mga mayor? Or ngayon pa lang po, papatrabaho?
He has never stopped working against all forces against the legitimate government. They have not stopped. They've been there fighting in and out. Whenever they are assigned this trouble, there's an NPA problem, and we will also develop to take care of that. There's no talk forthcoming your way or our way with the Reds. because I do not see even a slight sincerity. They want us to hurry up as if we are their servants, and maybe because we were friends before, and I'm still friends with now. As a matter of fact, I requested them to release a policeman who was suffering from arteriosclerosis. That's what the doctor said. It's really something of a circulatory problem. They obliged. They release. I said, I told my aide to call them and said, tell them that that policeman is sick. He has medication for the heart. If he dies in your hands, it's your responsibility, and the killing would be so unnecessary.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Guys. Thank you so much.
Yes. Yung magaganda, yung mamil, mga binata, may asawa ka na? Yes, when it's safe. The catchword is when it is safe. Here in Mindanao, there is no pulling of spillage of men, and as long as it remains manageable and the police can take care of it. No, I said I have to clean the place and watch out if there is a spillover or any sympathetic group would initiate a trouble again for them. Immediately, when it is safe for people in government, for General Del Rosario to go around and he is unmolested, nothing happens, it will be safe. I don't know if there will be a resurgence. We will make it safe. Well, for those guys who did not turn over their proper taxes, we have collected a lot. You know, you remember the case against my son and my son-in-law? Well, he's a lawyer, Yar Pampaway. His father, the parents-in-law of Inday, are really the moralists of Paway. The eldest is the ombudsman. So, when they were retained by Mighty King thought all the while that if he had a lawyer close to me. But you know, I cannot stop anybody from being a doctor or a lawyer. I cannot, that is lawyering. That is the practice of medicine, an accountant. Hindi ko mapigil. Sinabi ko lang, well, you know the rules. And in the initial days, they were offering 3 million. So I said, bullshit. They were the lawyers. And I told Sonny Dominguez, how much are they worth for cheating on us? And Dominguez said, it has to be like 40 million, 45. Billion, rather. So, I have the money to start. I cannot build them mansions, but I can build decent houses for people. I cannot provide the destroyed mansions there. We do not spend for rich people. We only spend for those less fortunate and cannot afford something in life.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You guys are going home? Sige, I will escort you out. You have guns? Yeah, you should. Do not give it to the enemy free. They can take it away only over your dead body. Ganon talaga. Mga sundalo, ganon.
Yun ako nasa isip ko, sir. Magtira ka na isang bala.
Kainin mo. Oh. You want to be decapitated in public? And make a service boy there? Ako wala, marami ako. I will not surrender even one tip of my finger. You have to kill me.